Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. And so we're going to talk about some of the reviews that's come out about Captain America, Brave New World. What I'm hearing is I'm just hearing a lot of positive things, guys. I mean, from the big critics and as such. Here on Variety, Captain America Brave New World draws a mixed first reaction, some praising as an absolute blast, and others saying it's slightly empty, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And we're also going to touch on this DEI hire stuff that's been associated with Captain America in this video. Because we gotta talk about this, guys. This is getting a little bit ridiculous, right? So, let's first talk about the Falcon as a character in the comic books, right? First, I want to kind of look at the landscape of what's been going on with a lot of reviews on YouTube about Captain America Brave New World. Unfortunately, right, many of our large YouTubers have kind of went on these tangents about wokeness in the comic book genre, in the cinematic universe. They've went on these tangents to where many of their episodes are fully devoted to that sort of thing. And initially, right, I was in so much agreement with the idea of that the characters that we fall in love with, the characters that we know as our superheroes that originate in the comics, and they have storylines, and these characters are of certain genders and races, and there are certain storylines and identities and characters that go along with that. I'll give you a prime example, right? When the last Fantastic Four movie came out with Michael B. Jordan, obviously he was playing an African-American character, and his sister was played by a Caucasian woman. And as we know in the comics, these are supposed to be twins, right? So by them, when you change the race and such these characters, then it can start to, open up, other things along the storyline that you might have questions for. So, initially I was fine with all that. I was like, yeah, let's just keep our characters, as they're created. This is what we're paying for. This is what we come out to see. And I was 100% behind that. But the problem, guys, is when you get a character in the comics like Falcon who basically they do pass the mantle of Captain America onto him, right? So the Falcon does become Captain America. He is an African-American character and all of that, right? And still gets the label of the DEI hire. And to me, that is a good portion of the fault of many of these YouTube critics and channels and characterizations, ones that are overzealous, going after these woke crowds and these political categories, right? And that's a big problem, because I'll just put it to you all like I heard them say to many of their subscribers and viewers. And that was that they're getting tired of being beat on the head from the woke crowd. They're getting tired of, characters having to fit certain agendas, gender role agendas and such, quotas having to be met, right? They said they were tired of seeing all of that and getting beat over the head with that. Well, now it's getting to the point where I think many of us are getting tired of being beat over the head with all this DEI stuff. constantly. The episodes they're showing us are about those political things, when these are comic book characters that we're invested in, into the joy of that, and it becomes not enjoyable when whole episodes about comic book reviews become about political things like this, right? Especially when they're inaccurate, when characters like the Falcon has always been an African American character. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up, guys, and the reason I think it's important to mention this, is because I can't help but think a lot of the negative pushback that's come with this film, although I'm mostly hearing from a film point of view, is an excellent film. I'm hearing people say this is a fantastic film, but there are people who are latching on to these YouTube channels and reviewers, I believe, just for the sake to do the political rambling, to attack certain political situations, right? Even when they're not applicable, right? Like in the case of Sam Wilson, where they're not even applicable because he's always been an African-American character. He was always, it was, written for him to be Captain America. In the comics, he gets that mantle. And so, as far as I can see, the Captain America movies, what I'm hearing, at least, I'll review the movie. I definitely will see it. But from what I'm hearing so far, that shouldn't be a problem here, right? Now that we got that part out of the way, let's talk about the type of movie this is, right? Because I also think that there is such a vast amount of confusion about this movie, right? And what this movie's supposed to be. So, much of the reviews that are coming back is that this is a great movie, right? But it is a heavily grounded movie in the scope of Captain America the Winter Soldier. And some people even say things like, and even Dunkirk, right? So in other words, what this is this is a political espionage spy thriller, right? Which I knew it was going to be. Now, what's the problem with that in the comic book world and how we rate a movie like this, right? Well, Marvel is very good at expanding its characters to play on the screen with other characters. Case in point, the Captain America and Winter Soldier, which some believe to be one of the most grounded superhero movie films ever, and I agree with that, right? Up until I haven't seen this latest Captain America, but up until Captain America Winter Soldier, I would say that it is one of the most grounded superhero films I've ever seen, right? Even more grounded than like the Christopher Nolan, kind of getting close, right? In that area, right? Than like the Dark Knight and all that. But even more so because it does that political, espionage thing. And that's very interesting to many of us, right? But that Captain America of Steve Rogers exists in the same world as the Incredible Hulk and Thor, right? So when he leaves that area of Marvel, he joins in with the Avengers initiatives, right? But here's the other thing we need to keep in mind, right? Much like the situation was happening with DC and the Batman, right? The Matt Reeves Batman, where we had that big thing about don't include him in the James Gunn Superman. That would need to be a different Batman because what that Batman in Matt Reeves' universe is too grounded to exist in what James Gunn's doing in the world, and I believe that as well. In a sense, the Captain America of the Winter Soldier is too grounded to exist in a Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy MCU. But apparently people are so talented at Marvel, they can make it work. The point I'm making overall is that these Captain America films that kind of are standoffish in their own world, right? And they're just kind of contained. They can be like standalone films in their own universe. And because of that, my point is the ratings for them should be different than we rate other superheroes. In other words, how we rate Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Brave New World should be entirely different, right, than how we would rate Avengers Endgame. Does that make sense? Now, with that said, and I'm going to make these caveats here, the negative pushback that I did here, right, because it's not all peaches and cream. I'm not going to say that the movie was perfect. But one of the pushbacks was that although this was a great grounded film and it worked so well, when you get the Thunderbolt Ross Red Hulk sequences, right, some of the CGI they're complaining about wasn't up to par, right? And so now that pulls you out of the grounded thing, and you're kind of in one movie like this, it's not blending well together, right? You got some reports I've had, the bad CGI switching back to the grounded effect, right? What do you do with that? And so that's an imperfection to the film, right? But all that said, the Hulk is only on the screen, we're told, about 4 minutes, right? So it's mostly going to be that grounded espionage Tom Clancy, right, film. And so, in that respect, then should we rate this kind of separate from the more comic booky, popcorn movie, fantastical Marvel movies, right? And I think so, right? I think you should come into this with a different mindset. Another thing is, people are out there saying, then if that's the case, right, that this movie should be able to compete on par with, your big Avengers movies, right? I just, for the life of me, I don't understand why people would feel that way, right? When this movie is a different category of Marvel film, right? It's almost like its own genre, like I was saying. And so in that case, I guess my point I'm making is they shouldn't expect this. Nobody should expect this movie to be on par with those superhero movies that are going to attract a larger demographic. Here's another thing people were saying, right? They were saying that the people who are looking at this, I think, purely as a comic book movie, and they're not getting into understanding and getting into the fabulous acting I heard done by Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie, and I can't think of the he played the first Blue Marvel, one of the first superheroes to get the Captain America serum, right? Flag serum. I can't remember his name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He's a great actor. He's played superheroes before. He played the Mantis, the TV series superhero. But those three actors in this movie, I'm told, deliver masterful performances. They did great. Now, you get people saying that the film was boring, right? Here's the thing, right? as this isn't per se a comic book movie, right? Real life movies, basically they don't move like comic book movies. It's not action every 5 minutes. It's a plot. It's the planning. It's the development, right, of the characters and what's going on, right, in the mystery and the suspense and all that stuff. And I think what's happening is that is more uh, going to resonate with a more mature, patient audience, right? For those type of films, right? It's kind of like when Game of Thrones became the #1 television show, right? And everybody was starting to transition over to Game of Thrones, right? Well, you had a lot of people going, "Hey, I want to see dragons," and seems like they just sit up there and talk the whole show, and I'm not interested in that. And you try to help them understand the political intrigue is the main pull to that type. That's what that show was, right? At least in the earlier seasons. uh, it's I view this as the same thing, right? That people are expecting this to compete like a $1 billion comic book movie. Like were actually looking at this like to save Marvel, right? But this is the type of film that's supposed to save Marvel. Like, when Captain America Winter Soldier came out, it was a great film. It was an excellent film, one of the best superhero films I've seen. But I don't recall people looking at Captain America Winter Soldier as a means to save the Marvel universe, right? It was kind of just like a filler in that on the Marvel roster, right? And really, Captain America Brave New World really should be that. I don't know where all this comes from. If this flops, it's the end of Marvel and we should be looking for it. It's not that type of film, right? This is a grounded superhero film. I look at it as more compared, more, toward a more mature audience. If you're 13 years old, you're probably going to be bored with this. You're going to want to see the Red Hawk on screen more than 4 minutes, right? So that's not what this movie is. I just don't understand why people don't understand it or get that, right? That it can be a great film in its own, category. That's what it is. But then you're going to get people who going to compare it to the other Marvel films. It didn't do this, it didn't do that. And to me, that is a misunderstanding of what this movie is about, right? In my opinion, right? In my opinion. But you guys can tell me all what you think. I will do the actual review as soon as I get to see the movie, because I'm definitely going to see it, and I will review it because I like movies like this. Like I was saying, these are my favorite types of superhero films, right? I've always been into the more grounded, realistic, and I always felt DC was more that than Marvel. But certain films, I believe, have to, uh, uh, have to include certain things in them. Like how many of you all who watch the channel know my stance with James Gunn. I feel the Superman movie is coming out, going to be a great movie. Some people want it to be a more grounded movie. Some people want it to be a more violent action movie. Some people want it to be a more comic booky movie. And some people like me have found a balance in that. You can, if you got the right talent, they're putting these characters on screen, you can have a situation where you can have a character like Captain America and a grounded spy government espionage film that can mingle with Asgardian gods like Thor and Incredible Hulk in other movies, right? Or or in this particular movie, we do get a Hulk with the Red Hulk, but not much on the screen. But we do get him, and but certain people could do that, and I think James Gunn is one of those people who is going to be able to take a character like Superman. He's going to be in this comic book world, but at the same time, he's going to be able to put Superman in other worlds in this new DCs he's building. So that's just kind of example of, how I see that sort of thing. But that's all I think I'm going to say on this video. Tell me, guys, what you think. Do you think we should look at Captain America Brave New World the same as we look at other superhero films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Tell me what you think. And please, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, right? Try to remember to hit that subscribe button. We want to get my subscriber count up there so my opinion can get out to everybody. So if you're in agreement with what I'm saying, it can get more people, relating and relative to the type of movies that we need to be watching before they put out more of the crazy stuff. But anyway, that's it, guys. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.